The Cold War was a long period of tension between the democracies of the Western world and the communist countries of Eastern Europe. The West was led by the United States, and the Eastern Europe was led by the Soviet Union. These two countries became known as superpowers, although the two superpowers never officially declared war on each other. They fought indirectly in proxy wars, the arms race and the space race. The Cold War began not too long after World War II ended in 1945. Although the Soviet Union was an important member of the Allied powers, there was great distrust between the Soviet Union and the rest of the Allies. The Allies were concerned with the brutal leadership of Joseph Stalin as well as the spread of communism. The Cold War came to an end with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991.
Hi, I'm Erickson.
I'm Guozhen.
Today we're going to talk about the Cold War that between the US and the Soviet Union after World War II. After World War II, the US and the Soviet Union got into a Cold War and the US won the Cold War. So what happened during the Cold War, Guozhen?
Well, as we know, Soviet Union was not just a single country. It made up with different countries. We call it Union. Before the Cold War, Russia fought during World War I, and Soviet Union joined World War II, which cost lots of money. After Stalin passed away, Soviet Union formed. Also, new issues came up. More and more officers that work for the government being greedy. They were enjoying the privilege. That seems not fair at all to us, isn't it? You can imagine that people were suffered, but some lived fancy. At least I don't accept it. I think people at that time would think with the same way as I do. When Soviet Union came to that end, no one wanted to help. Those officers want more money after Soviet Union divided.
So the Cold War was a rivalry between the USSR and the USA that played out globally. We've tried to shy away from calling conflicts ideological or civilizational here on Crash Course, but in this case, the clash of civilizations model really does apply. Socialism, at least as Marx constructed it, wanted to take over the world, and many Soviets saw themselves in a conflict with bourgeois capitalism itself. And the Soviets saw American rebuilding efforts in Europe and Japan as the US trying to expand its markets, which, by the way, is exactly what we were doing. So the US feared that the USSR wanted to destroy democratic and capitalist institutions, and the Soviets feared that the US wanted to use its money and power to dominate Europe and eventually destroy the Soviet system. And both parties were right to be worried. It's not paranoia if they really are out to get you. Now, of course, we've seen a lot of geopolitical struggles between major world powers here on Crash Course, but this time there was the special added bonus that war could lead to the destruction of the human species. That was new for world history, and it's worth remembering it's still new. Here's the period of time we've...
Hello guys, I'm Julian and I'm here with Erickson. He's going to tell us about Perestroika. Perestroika was one of the main reasons why the Soviet Union collapsed. What is Perestroika?
The Perestroika was a restriction of the Soviet political and economic system. It allowed more independent actions from various ministries and introduced some market-like reforms. The goal of the Perestroika was not to end the common economy, but to make socialism work more efficiently to better meet the needs of the Soviet consumers.
Yes! Okay, why did it happen?
The Soviet economy was in the deadline as Mikhail Gorbachev took office. So Mikhail Gorbachev decided to make some changes for the Soviet Union's economic system to prevent the failing of the Soviet economy.
Why was the Soviet economy was failing?
The The lack of incentive for productivity was one of the main reasons why the Soviet economy was failing. The advisor of Mikhail Gorbachev tried to figure out why is the production of the coal mine so low. After a survey, he found the miners were not working because they had no incentive to work.
Right now I'm here with Reina. We're going to talk about the Glasnost. What is Glasnost, Reina?
Glasnost is the policy or practice of more open consultative government and wider dissemination of information, initiated by leader Mikhail Gorbachev from 1945.
What did the Glasnost do?
Glasnost was a policy designed to help the economic restructuring known as perestroika. Gorbachev believed that unless people were free to criticize the factories, enterprises, farms, etc., where they worked, then they would only say what they thought the official line was. Glasnost was not meant to spread out into general societal criticism, but it did. Glasnost led to function adherence within the Communist Party and eventually to the collapse of the Union and the abandonment of the Communist experiment. The transition to a consumer-based economy was painful. The end of the 1980s saw a huge budget and deficit and sky-high inflation. Severe shortages of basic food supplies led to the reintroduction of the wartime system of rationing. Endless lines formed outside every store. For its part, Glasnost lost some credibility right at the start when it was discovered that the government was slow to admit the infectious Chernobyl disaster in April 1980, the worst nuclear power plant accident in history. What's your reaction about perestroika
and Glasnost? Well, perestroika, as you know, is these economic reforms that Mikhail Gorbachev and the Communist Party wanted to put into the Soviet Union in the 80s. It's basically what it was is to allow some capitalism, right? So, for example, blue jeans were a popular item in the Soviet Union, but they couldn't buy them because there were no consumer goods. Right? So what that is allowing some people to start little businesses so they can import some jeans or some American clothes, and so people could buy them because the Soviet economy wasn't providing those things like clothes or phones or Coca-Cola, right? So that's perestroika. Glasnost means openness. And what Gorbachev wanted to do is say it's okay to criticize the Communist Party. Before Gorbachev, if you criticized the Communist Party, you were going to the Gulag, or it wasn't happy. It wasn't a pleasant experience. So he was showing the Soviet people that the communist system could work if we just tweak it a little bit. My reaction to it is, we've seen this throughout history, is that when you have a little reform, people want more reform. When you have an iron-fisted government like the Soviet Union had for 70 years, once people have a little taste of freedom, they're going to want more of it. We see that in the French Revolution. The French Revolution, people are starving and demanding, lower prices for bread, and so Louis XVI brought in Jacques Necker, and he tried to do that, and people wanted more then, and so that's what happens. One crack in this iron-fisted rule, and it just kind of, I don't want to say it made things worse because it was actually a good thing, but it sets the stage for a revolution to overthrow the communist regime.
Thank you.
Preview.
Only say that I hate you.
Hey, what's up? Okay. Okay, so. Preview.
It's okay.
It was
That's
calm.
okay.
Don't be so
Yes.
serious, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, excellent. They make up with different country we call the Union. For the Cold War, Russia fought they were in World War I, and Soviet Union joined the World War II, which caused lots of money. The leaders Stalin want to build up their military as fast as they could, but the Soviet Union was not happy yet.
Go.
Go. How would the glass music relate to the crowd?